So in terms of my story and my experience with the Marshall, it really begins with who I am and where I'm from, right? I am originally from Mexico City, and I was actually born in Mexico City. And my story begins there because when I was born, I was only born into just one parent, never meeting my biological father. To this day, I don't know his name or do not know anything about this guy. And I was born into a very poor society, right? It was just my mom, my mom's mom, and my older brother and myself. And growing up again, we didn't really have a place that I can call, a home. Except we did have a place we were staying in, and it was no bigger than 250 square feet. In this house, and then I call it our house because really that's what it was to us. We didn't really own the land; we were actually renting this, and again, it was just for the four of us, no more than 250 square feet. And it was made out of plywood, sheet metal, no electricity, no running water, no carpet, no flooring. We were literally right on top of dirt. And this was our house. This was our place that, we were doing or we're trying to build memories. And to talk about memories, there's one time that I remember when I was just a few months after I turned 3, my mom decided to take her leap of faith, and she decided to migrate to the States, leaving me behind with my older brother and my grandmother. And one of the things that I remember from that moment is I started thinking, like, what happened here? Like, why would my mom leave, right? And as a kid, you don't understand those things, except as a kid, you see it as someone is abandoning you, right? It's an abandonment issue. And so, nevertheless, it was a pivotal moment in my life, and I think that was probably one of my first things that I encountered when my mom left, because unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to see it, we were forced to start working, or I was forced to start working at an early age. And so we used to do a lot of things with my grandma and my older brother. And one of the things that we would do is we'll do cookies, donuts, taquitos, and we actually sell them at the tianguis, or like similar to a flea market, so that we can actually make money and be able to have food on the table. Unfortunately, there was times that we wouldn't really sell a whole lot of stuff, and we had what I consider to be our specialty dish, which is a tortilla with just a couple of grains of salt, and that's all we had for days in and days out for us to eat. And the good thing that I would say is that my grandmother was very big on education, so we never dropped out of school. Except again, I didn't have a childhood because I would go to school, come out of school, do my homework, and then I had to work to be able to generate money. I didn't have the luxury to go out and play with the kids from the neighborhood or do any of that stuff. As a matter of fact, if I did any of that, I would get punished. I do remember one time I did that, and my grandmother, who I used to call my grandmother came out and just got a leather belt and started beating me to get back to work, because again, I now see it. I recognize that I didn't have the luxury to do anything outside of that. Nevertheless, we graduated from selling stuff at the flea market just because we were not making money, and so my grandmother decided to buy us a sewing machine, one for herself, one for my older brother, and one for my for herself. And so the idea was that we were sewing clothing, and we will do a huge 50-gallon bags of clothing, and we'll take that on the bus for about an hour and a half to the factory, and then hopefully, our hope was that we wouldn't get robbed, and then take that there so we can actually get paid and have money to survive. It wasn't until the age of 10 that I got reconnected with my mom. My mom actually had the ability to bring us to the States, and I came to the States illegally. It took me about 2.5 weeks to cross the border. And when I came to the States at the age of 10, I was going through what I would consider to be another turning point of my life, not knowing the language, not having friends, being in a place that I didn't recognize. For the first time in my life, I didn't have to work. And so I had all these different things, except again, sometimes we are too comfortable with what we're doing that we're afraid, or we have the fear of being uncomfortable and taking a different direction in our lives. And for me, that's what it was. I was uncomfortable being here in the United States and having the ability to not having to work and having the ability to have clothes and, having the ability to have a future. I was uncomfortable with that because of the fear of the unknown. And I was comfortable being poor, not having anything. And I wanted to go back to Mexico. And I'm glad that they didn't send me to the place that I was born into and or was used to, which is being very comfortable. And I had to face being uncomfortable and the fear of dealing with discrimination and bullying and all these different things. Yet again, I embraced it. I surrender. And this is one of the lessons that I learned from Marshall. Surrender not to give up. Surrender to understand, surrender to see things from a different perspective and take a different direction. And so that's what I did. And so within 2 years, by the age of 12, I was able to speak the language. I was able to communicate. I would say I became a schoolboy. And fast forward a couple of years later, at the age of 15, I was dating a girl and I ended up getting her pregnant. At the age of 16, I was having my first daughter. And one of the things that came to mind is, wow, I'm just a kid having a kid. It's only been 5 years that I came to the States, in 5 years, 5.5 years, and I'm now having a kid. How am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And so I decided to continue to work. And I told my daughter's mom, and I gave her a promise. I said, I promise you that my daughter, our daughter, is not going to have to work the way I did as a kid. And she's going to have the possibilities in everything that I didn't have as a kid. And she will never have to suffer the way I did. And I made that my mission. I made that my purpose, my dedication. And so I did that and continued to do that. And as I got into my early 20s, I went through many different ups and downs that really, I believe sometimes the decisions and choices that we make will determine the quality of life that we have. And I did some really, I would consider bad choices, although I see them as lessons now, that took me through a different journey. I got involved on real estate investing at an early age. I was doing that for a while. Then I moved up, and I also was working for a corporate company worldwide. And I have my MBA degree. And then around 2017, I was already very active in real estate investing, working my 9 to 5 at this again logistics company. And I decided to go to a real estate seminar down here in Los Angeles, over 10,000 people. And I was there to see a couple other speakers. And then there was this one guy that came to speak. He first had a very funny show, and that's the name of the show, funny show, hypnotic show. And I had a blast. I was laughing. It was amazing. I said, man, I really want to see what this guy is going to teach us tomorrow, because he's, having this show that is really entertaining. Except at the end, he said, if you want to learn how I'm doing this thing so that you can influence other people and then you can get whatever you want, make sure you're here for my presentation the following day. And sure enough, I was there, one of the first ones. Again, we're 10,000 people, and he delivered what he calls missing piece to millions. And I got to tell you, he blew my mind away just by the things that he was talking about in that 90 minutes. There was so much truth that was said. On top of that, again, there was probably over 8,000 to 10,000 people at this seminar, and he did an offer to go to Turning Point. And with that offer, I saw so many people that got up from their seat and went to the back table and signed up for Turning Point. And I said, this guy has something that I have never seen in my life. And it was the power of influence, or the power of being able to influence people in a positive way, that they wanted to buy his product. And so I said, I want to go too. And I was one of those guys, and I actually ended up buying that. And then with that, I went to the 2.5-day event called Turning Point, and he just blew my mind. And I said, this is the missing piece that I'm missing. I need this guy in my life to help me with my real estate investing and help me get through other challenges that I was going through. So I ended up buying his mentoring program. And since then, I've been working with Marshall. And one of the things that he has done for me, not only has he helped me become more confident and create more confidence for myself, he has gave me the knowledge to be able to live my very well over 6-figure paying job, my 9 to 5 job, and become a full-time entrepreneur. Since then, I've published 18 books. I am also now a public speaker. I get the opportunity to also get on stages, and this was all based on Marshall training me on how to do that. And I've made a lot of different connections all over the world based on just being in some of his seminars. I've met people from Canada, Australia, London, Mexico that have come to his seminar, and these are people that are playing at a higher level. And so for me, it's not just about the confidence, it's not just about the speaking that I've been able to do, it's about the opportunities that have come from this seminar in working with Marshall, and more so the teachings, the principles, the ideas, and also the ability to see things from a different perspective. I think he really drilled down to me a couple of different things on my unconscious mind that has allowed me to see things in a more positive way, and also pay more attention to the things that are going on. So definitely, I highly recommend anybody learning more about Marshall Sylver, and they can go to the website below.